So, let's talk about Goofy. Created in 1932, Goofy, or the Goof, became a staple of Disney characters, appearing alongside Mickey and Donald in multiple shorts, a few movie appearances, and even his own series that included the hilarious how-to cartoons. The character was so popular that in 1992, when Disney Afternoon was really big, they gave him his own TV series, Goof Troop, which he starred in with Pete, an idiot neighbor, and Max, his loving son. For as much as I love this character, I admit the series didn't really grab me. So when I found out they were making a Goof Troop movie, I passed on it. And I'm more into the real Disney cartoon movies like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. Maybe I'll check it out when it goes to video. And I did. And wow, I was wrong. This movie is amazing. So the story revolves mostly around Max, who is no longer this young, happy-go-lucky kid. He's an awkward teen, embarrassed by his goofy dad, and more into girls and his own life. Goofy is a single parent, supportive, loving, but a bit naive. When Max pulls a stunt at school to get the attention of Roxanne, a girl he likes, he gets into some trouble, and the principal calls his dad with the typical exaggerated complaints. He was dressed like a gang member. He's causing riots. And Goofy, an old-fashioned dad, believes it without question, so he takes him on a trip to Bond, interfering with Max's plan to go on a date. Okay, for the record, I know this sounds very tween soap opera-y, but to its credit, they do mix it with a lot of typical Goofy cartoon gags. For example, they run into Bigfoot in one scene. However, this comes before and after a relatively dramatic conversation. But what really makes this work, at least for me personally, isn't that I related to Max when I was younger and Goofy now that I'm older, but the opposite. As a kid, when I grew up, I loved Goofy cartoons. So, I felt for Goofy. I mean, I kind of understood where Max was coming from, but I thought he was a little mean. As an adult, yeah, I still see where Goofy's coming from, but now I'm really kind of relating to Max. You'd expect it to be the other way around, but the writing is really clever. It never bashes one side, nor makes the other one too harsh. This way, everyone can relate to everyone. Even the antagonists have more depth than usual. As a kid, when the principal was screaming and telling Goofy that his son's gonna end up in the electric chair, it was actually kind of funny. But as an adult, geez, what an SOB. Again, you'd expect it to be the other way around. Like I said, very clever writing. And also, let's talk about Pete. Being Disney's longest-running cartoon character, he was usually utilized as like a villain toon. Lately more silly than serious, but in this movie, they kind of imply that he's kind of borderline abusive to PJ, his son. It's never too blatant, but you can kind of see it, again, very subtly so as not to taint the character. The scene where Goofy and Pete are in the hot tub is honestly the best scene in this movie. I know that sounds odd, but the conversation about parenting and trust gets straight up serious. You almost forget you're watching a Goofy cartoon. It kind of shows how parents get just as much as peer pressures as the kids do. Again, it never goes too far with the seriousness without throwing in some good fun gags. Not to mention some great music. And, oh, let's talk about the music. The soundtrack of this film is not only one of Disney's best, but it has reached legend. From fan videos to people still to this day wearing Powerline concert t-shirts, it's amazing. I personally own this soundtrack. I love it. This movie, this Goofy movie, is easily one of Disney's best. It's amazing. I could tell you from personal experience that if you don't watch this movie, you are truly, truly missing out. Even if you're not a huge Goofy fan, even if you're not a fan of Goof Troop, like I'm not, you're still gonna get something out of this film. From a kid, to an adult, to a parent, you're gonna love this movie. I give it 5 ducks, without a doubt. Oh, one more thing, Pauly Shore is in this movie. I like him, I admit it.